Dave here, how are you? Today is the 26th of April 2020. I'm smiling a bit because I nearly started the show without the sound turned on. I'm hoping it's coming through clean. I'm also hoping we're actually getting the picture. If someone can say, yep, everything's going great, that'd be fantastic. I'll just wait for, it needs to be one person. I don't know what the delay is, just hoping it's coming through. I'm going to kick on anyway. Good evening, John, Scott, John Lafferty, John Wheat, all good. Thanks, Mike, how are you? All right, so today on the show, I've started watching what's coming up in the Facebook Dave Stanton live stream Facebook page. And there's a couple of things, people are asking questions, so it's topical. I thought, well, why not? Stephen Wallbank has asked about different types of saw blades that he can use in his Festool Tracksaw that may not be the standard brand. It can be a generic brand. So I've got a catalogue here from another company and I've got the blades laid out ready to talk through. So it might be good. So also we've got Andrew's picnic table. Now this is very, very cute. I'll throw that up a little bit later on. This is a viewer project. Test run with the jointer fence on the wooden hand plane, and I've been waiting for this. I've done a little bit of testing, I've got to be honest, but it's come up really nice. I'm very happy with it. I've done a little bit of tuning. You may know that I've actually put this over the jointer, my big machine, to square it up so it's sweet. Clean drum sander belts. Is it worth your time? I didn't advertise that I'd be talking about this, but if I get time, I'll have a bit of a chat as well. The TSO Parallel Guide's new swing stop, which is very, very nice. I've been using the Parallel Guides since. I didn't normally use them much. I normally use the table saw, but I thought, look, I've got these things. I'm going to give them a run. Pardon me. And I went through all of these new units that I built for Vicky. So I've cut up around about 15 sheets of ply, totally with the Parallel Guides and the GRS 16, and I was thinking, why did I wait till now? Why didn't I do this earlier? All right, pardon me again. All right, what else have we got here? Everything's coming through. Fix It Fingers, g'day, how are you? Watching this so I don't think about the bug bad here in southeast Michigan. Thank you very much for mentioning that we don't talk about that virus that's happening at the moment. If we do talk about it, we just refer to it as the bug. Now also, one of the other things I've noticed is that, I'm just reading down the side here as well, or down that side as far as you're looking at it. No, just forget that. Let's keep moving on. So first thing to do is we'll start off with the jointer plane. So I will talk through it a little. It's held onto the main plane by rare earth magnets. So I've got 2 rare earth magnets on the fence and 2 rare earth magnets embedded in and down around about 2 millimeters below the surface on this one. Now these ones in the fence are proud. So when it goes on, it locates. Now I've had some people say, Dave, does it hold it? Does it hold it sufficiently? Well, it's not as good as actually having a knurled knob and locking it on, bolting it onto an insert, which is the way that I was going to do it. But I decided to go with this because it looked a little bit nicer. I was thinking about also embedding $2 coins, Australian $2 coins in there, which have no real effect on the magnetism, but it did weaken it a little bit because the magnets were a little bit further apart. So this side had been dressed off, and this side also, because this side looked really nice. So I put this side over the jointer as well, sanded it all back and hit it with another coat or 2. You'll notice down here that I have grub screws or set screws, whatever you want to call them. And they stop the blade here from moving around in the mouth. So I've got good adjustment down on both sides, but I did take those out first. The brass rod that holds on to the lever cap, I cut it a little bit short anyway and then dressed it up, and then I put a casting resin over the top. So there was no risk when I ran this over the jointer that I was going to hit the brass. I was only cleaning up the surface of the resin. And it's actually come up even better than it was before. So I'm very happy with it. Some people panic and they go, oh my God, what did, it's only wood. It's a chunk of wood. So I got it there in the first place, a little touch up and then refinish it. Beautiful. All right, so this plane is, the sole is Jarrah. The sides are Paduk, or Padork, whatever you want to call it. And the inside, the infill, is rock maple. The lever cap is highly figured red gum. The fence to marry up with the plane itself, this part here, is also rock maple, and it's laminated onto Brazilian bloodwood. And this had to be very, very tough and no warping. So this is a quarter sawn. The rock maple is live sawn, so hence it gives us all that pattern in the grain. And the other side, being quarter sawn, it's just straight lines. All right, I will put this on and then I'll do a quick read and see how it just locks on, stays there. Move it around here a little bit. Do you like it? I think it's nice. I'm going to do a quick read. Her 3 relatives working 16-hour shifts in hospital. Wow. That plane is too pretty. Cheers, Bob. I'll make another one. Okay, don't tell them it's just the flu. Greg, morning all. Just back from the big green shed on time. Almost. Okay, Greg. Scott, so Dave, M, and Wally. All right, leave you guys go. Ian, Eason, good evening all. I'm going to switch the cameras over. I've got no idea how many people are watching or if anyone's doing thumbs up or anything like that. I'm relying on you guys just to run everything in the background for me. Let me see if I can get down to this one here. All right. Idle Hands workshop evening from the Florida Panhandle. G'day, Idle Hands. Maybe a great idea. Andy, hi. G'day, Andy. Hi from Plymouth. All right. So here we go. We've got the plane set up as it's going to be going through. Now, I will hold the plane like this. So I'm going to hold fingers around the horn that's on it and then pushing in. So I'm going to start back here and I'm going to be pushing against the fence. So I'm going to lift the plane up off its comfortable position. Okay, so that one pass. 77-10, man. Two. That's nearly done. That's it. Do you like that one? They come out beautiful, don't they? Now, I'm going to put the square on it. I can do some adjustment if I need to, and I don't need to. That is really, really, really nice. I don't know if you can see that, but that's just perfect. If I wanted to, what I could do, I'm talking to the main camera again, we'll switch back to it. What I could do is I could move the lever, the lateral lever adjustment, and make the blade in the sole tilt over to one side or back to the other if I didn't have this perfectly 90 degrees. Now, why do I need it perfectly 90 degrees? Well, the thing is, if I joint another board and put it on there, I want the face to be dead flat. I don't want this to be this way and then this one to lean back, if you get what I mean. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to have a look at, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the straight edge on here. And let's have a look, see if it's straight. You know what? That looks pretty good to me. Yep. Not bad for a chunk of wood. People don't rate wooden hand planes. They like, hello, Mr. Phone. They like steel planes, and I love steel planes as well. But there's something a little bit more organic about these guys. And the fact that I made it Gives me a smile every time I pick it up and use it. I think, oh, I'm a bit chuffed with myself. Do you get like that with projects? Do you do something you think, that's not half bad? I guess that's half the reason we do it. Good morning. You like that, Nick? G'day, Paul. 70 watching. G'day, 76, 24th. Wow. Did you light up the dawn from your lawn? No, I'm sorry I did not. Here at last. G'day, Stephen. 80 now, Greg. Wow. Russell, John, I hope that's not your blood pressure. Stephen, Dave Spanton's bespoke planes. Well, there you go. Reading through, just flipboard, compensate for inaccuracy. You could do that, but what if you wanted to book match? You can't flip the board if it's book matched. So hence, trying to keep it at 90 degrees or as accurate as possible is possibly a better way to go. Now I'm going to take that off. And I've got another board here that's a real wily one. That's a chunk of the cedar I was using on my mum's dressing table. Now this one, I haven't got the face dressed. Let me see if I've got an edge here that I can... Oh, that's just... That's a stinker. I'm not going to show you that one. The face isn't dressed at all. I've got another one here. This is a bit of Syrian cedar. Now, the edge on this is really rough. Now, I'm going to leave it there for a second because I've noticed if I move things around, everything starts to pixelate. All right, now I'm going to pop it back down here, move some dogs. Let me see. About there. And move the other dog up. Like so. Clamp on there. And this little guy down the end. Beautiful. This, I'm going to attack this just by going straight without using the fence to start, because this has got a hump. I'll give it a bit more cut. Other way, I think. No, I was going the right direction the first time. That's going to be quite aggressive. Let's see how this goes. Told you. Because this has got a hump in the middle, I have to work from the center and then gradually increase the cut area. You want to watch from the end? Here we go. See? That ain't a toy. That's magic. Magic, magic, magic. Give me a second. I'm going to put the fence on now. Beautiful. Here we go. Done. I don't know if you saw how bad that board was, but I don't know if I can get the camera down there. It's got a little bit of a dip in the center. I'm going to take another pass. One more. Looks like a little frog. Hello. I'm gonna have another look. No dip now. That's just beautiful. Absolute magic. I'll go to the main camera again. You might be able to see it. It's just absolutely glorious. And now, here's the big test. I'm going to put this on top. And you guys are seeing it before I can see it. Let me have a look down there. I'm going to switch cameras so you can see. And where's my straight edge? Reaching over to get it. Okay, you ready? We're going in. In. Can you see any light? Let's do a test. I'll throw the light on behind it. I've got a light here. It's very, very satisfying when this can happen. Let's see. There's the light. Putting that up behind. That's pretty consistent down the bottom. See that? So if I push that in against there, and if I push it round this side, can you see any light coming through the joint? That's so good. Very happy. Very, very, very happy. So there we go. What do you think? What do you think? I'm going to switch the cameras. I haven't watched any of the chat. Let me have a look here. Nice curls. You like that? I could swallow the Coffs Harbour big banana. How's that? Making tiny rolls of toilet paper. I didn't even think about it. Okay, yep, you can just open butterfly and flip the two pieces lengthwise and widthwise. Try it without. Yes, is that a Cis light? Yes, it is. It's the first model. What brand is the straight edge? It's my Veritas straight edge. Let me see. It's an aluminium Veritas straight edge. This is the 30 inch or 36 inch, I think it is, something like that. Veritas Innovation and Tools, made in, I almost said China, but it's Canada. It started with a C. Hope Vic Tesla's not watching because he'd get upset. Okay, beautiful plane, amazing. Was just getting into bed and YouTube said you were going live. Hope you and your viewers keeping well. Going to listen as I go to sleep. So don't be shouting. Okay, laddie. They're cute, aren't they? They look like those springs that are in a drill press handle. You know, the ones that make it retract back up again. All right, that's the first thing. And it's 20 past. This is going well, going well. I'll have a drink. So as I say, it's not a toy. It's a very, very, very attractive looking tool. What's the next thing we do? How about we have a look at the thing that Andrew sent in. Now, Andrew, you might be there watching, working on garden tools and listening to the stream. Hope all is well with everyone. It is here, Peter. I hope it's all good with you. All right, here we go. Let me have a look. So I'm going to throw this photo up first. Now, Andrew's made a park bench and like a picnic table. You know, how cool is that? Wouldn't you like that in your garden? It's really, really nice. I'm going to read a little bit about it. Hi, Dave. Thought I would show you this little item I made during lockdown for my daughter. It's a little picnic for wildlife. How good is that? Did any of you twig that it was only around about 4 inches by 7 inches and 3 inches high? So he said, a little picnic table for wildlife I made from some oak scraps. It measures 4 by 7 and 3 inches high. I hope you enjoy it. I posted on my Facebook page and got 23 orders. Look at this. There it is out in the garden. Bit of seed on the top waiting for the squirrels or the birds to come in. And if it was in Australia, the cockatoos would come in, they'd eat the seed, then they would eat the table. They're destructive buggers. I think that's brilliant. What do you reckon, guys? So a round of applause for Andrew. Brilliant. If you've got projects like that, send them in to me. Down the bottom, yeah, I know the dog holes gave it away. I could have done that, fixed it up in Photoshop, but I decided just leave it. Down the bottom in the description box, there's links and my email address, all that kind of stuff. If you've got stuff that you're doing at the moment in lockdown, or if you just do it for a living, I don't care, send it in to me. So we've got that done, test run with that. The next thing is CMT alternate blades. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to put some saw blades, I've got them on a piece of plywood here, so you can have a look at them from above. What do you think? Now, while I'm doing this, you won't be able to see the chat in the side, I don't think. I think it's just going to go straight to the image. There it is. And I'll move it this way towards the telephone. All right. Now going through here, I'm just going to talk about what we've got. G'day Matthew, how are you? This is a Festool Rip Blade. So this is what's called the Panther. And this is the one that I use anytime I'm going to rip. This is the blade that I use. I'm going to go through the basic Festool blades first, then we'll talk about the alternate ones. This guy here is the one that lives in the saw most of the time because I do a lot of panel work with the Tracksaw. It's very rare that I'll use their lesser toothed coarse one. This is a 48 tooth, and these are all 2.2 millimeters, 160 millimeters diameter, 20 millimeter bore, and as I say, 2.2 millimeter kerf. It's not the thickness of the blade, that's the thickness of the cut, because the teeth are normally offset, and hence that's how it goes. This one here, again, you'll see that there's a color coding on these. Yellow and green is wood, yellow and green, wood, green and blue, aluminium blade. There's a couple of other blades that they've got as well that I'm not sure on the color codes because I don't own them. They've got a laminate blade, and they've also got one, I think, that'll do ferrous metals. Then we skip out of that. That's for the TS 55. Okay, it's for this guy. All right, this is the Tracksaw. Now they've also got, this is the Hkc. So this will not turn as fast as that. This is more of a construction, go between, jack of all trades, does everything. It does, it will run on the track. It runs on one battery. You notice my other one's got 2 batteries in it. That will turn at full speed, just the same as the corded model. This one won't turn at full speed. I think this is 3,000 RPM maximum. And this one, if I have 1 battery in it, it will turn at 3,000 RPM maximum as well. 2 batteries, it'll go up to full speed, which I think is around 5,400. Now, why is that of any consequence? You get a cleaner cut. In my early days, I used my little DeWalt cordless saw, made a little bit of a track saw out of it, and it kind of got me by. But the cuts, because the speed of that little old, it's a very old saw, it's up there on the wall, the speed wasn't there, so it couldn't deliver a clean cut. It's like when you're drilling a hole, pardon me, drilling a hole into melamine or a veneered finish, the faster you can get that speed up, the cleaner the entry is going to be. So with my Pro Tool, which is basically the Festool, but the other version for industry, same machines, different color, it turns at 3,900 RPM, which is fantastic. And it's got a 4-speed gearbox, and it goes down really low. Plenty of torque, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, then we jump into the Hkc blades. Now these are 1.8 millimeter kerf. So this much thinner metal, less load to remove because that machine has only got one battery. So there we go. Now we're going to go into the CMT blades. Here's a CMT blade here, 160 millimeter diameter, 20 millimeter bore. This one has, I'm reading here, this one is 1.8 millimeters thick in the metal, but 2.6 millimeter kerf. So it's 0.4 of a millimeter more than the Festool blades, and that may affect your splinter guard. So it's taking 0.2 of a millimeter either side. So, you know, if 1/5 of the millimeter, if that's going to concern you a lot for your splinter guard, there you go. Now, they've also got, for cutting hardy plank and cement sheet products, they've got these diamond blades, and these are one that Festool sells as their blade for doing that, because I don't think they make one. And CMT also have one, which is, let me see if I can see the thickness of it. I don't know if it's going to, yes, 2.4 millimeters in the kerf. So with compressed sheet and things like that, it's not going to be as much of an issue. It's, it's only 0.1 of a millimeter. It's neither here nor there. These things, if you're going to do any hardy plank or compressed sheet, don't. I'm not saying don't do it. Don't go more than 9 millimeters deep in a pass. Set your tracksaw up to 9 millimeters cut, and everything will be great. If you go deeper, you're going to run the risk of burning the blade, and it's not going to last anywhere near the time. Now, this one that I've got has lasted me a heap of time. It's done a lot of work. All right, now over to the catalogue. And there's a whole heap of things in here for CMT blades. And this is all this is the CMT catalogue. It's about 3 years old. If you can get a hold of one of these, even if you just write to CMT, they might send one to you. They're in Italy. They're probably all sitting around now with not much to do because they're all inside. Anyway, they have 4 different types. Let's switch over the cameras again, back to the front. There we go. I'm wearing my close-up specs to the readers, so some people, they might say that they're like the bottom of the glasses, but they're not that bad really. They're only 3s. Contractor, which is good. ITK Plus is better. Industrial Extreme, best. Orange Chrome is the superior. And they go through why and what type of carbide they've got. Now, that's a very interesting thing. I didn't realize until I was reading this last night. So the Contractor's got specially formulated construction grade carbide, which provides a longer cutting life and great resistance to impact. Now, the thing is, they're not going to start off by saying the Contractor one has got the poorest grade of carbide that we do. That's what they're really saying, but they're dressing it up to sound like it's great. You know, like if you go and buy, in the old days we used to be able to buy Holdens, EH Holden, I had an EH Holden, and you had a Standard and the Premier. So the Standard didn't have leather seats, the Premier had all the trims. I think Ford had gear. It's the same kind of thing with Holden selling standard model Holdens. They're not going to say, this is the crappy one. They're not going to say it. They're going to say, how nice is this? It's got Electroglide, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. It's got nice tyres, they've got rubber on the wheels, it's got a steering wheel. They're going to point out the good factors. So that's what they're doing here. So I'll keep on going with the carbide. Okay, who's late? Ron Thornton, you bad boy. Might need to save up the 120 if you recommend it for the 120. We're talking about the CapEx 120. It's a nice machine. I've used it. I've had it for years. I love it. I use it a lot. Okay, the ITK Plus, if you're not interested in this, that's fine. But as I say, this was a topic during the week that Stephen brought up. So then we've got high density carbide. So they tell you the difference. New process, Sinter HIP, high temperature, 1025 degrees Celsius, and high pressure 105 bar creates a porosity-free and high-density carbide which provides a longer cutting life than traditional carbide. So they're not going to rubbish the previous model either. All right, then we go up to the industrial extreme. Industrial chromium micrograin carbide. Now, Stephen, you should know all about this stuff. Special formulated chromium micrograin carbide which stays sharper longer by reducing cutting edge abrasion, improving cut quality and tool life. Wow, if you stop there, if they didn't have the best of all, you'd think, wow, I've got to get that one. So now we're going to move on to the next one. Orange chrome, the superior. So the carbide is, I think it's exactly, hold on, it goes a little bit further. Cutting teeth are made from a specially formulated chromium micrograin carbide which stays sharper. It's the same thing. They've just added a couple of words in at the beginning to make it sound a little bit more swish. Anyway, so there we go. That's the stuff that they have. Now, we can go through this and we can find a lot of the blades are going to be 300 or 250 millimeters. But if you get hold of one of these catalogs, you can go through and look, I found one here, 160 millimeters, 20 millimeter bore, 48 teeth, 2.2 millimeter kerf. And I'm going to read out, pardon me, I'm going to read out its code. So if you need to, Stephen, you can just look back through here and there you go. So it's 285.160.48H. I'm going to go down further, a few more pages. 160s I'm looking for. Here's one with a positive hook. And it's 20 mil bore, 160 diameter, 2.6 millimeter kerf. I think that's the one I just showed you down here. This one. Let me see what it says on the top. Is it 06H? Yes, it is. It's that blade there. So they say it's excellent for cross-cutting wood, cross-cut plywood, two-sided melamine. I wouldn't use it for two-sided melamine. I think they're telling pork pies there. You never can tell. All right, what's the next one? Keep on turning. I'm looking for 160s. Here's another one which is laminated for laminate and chipboard saw blades, 160 by 20, and it's a 2.2 millimeter kerf. Here you go, 281.160.40H, and they've got another one which has got a 2 after it. Now I don't know what that's for. Now this is basically a kind of a trapezoid style blade. It's got one tooth is flat across the top. The next tooth is got two shoulders on it, then flat. So it doesn't keep as much irritation up onto the sides of the surface of the laminate as you're going through. 160, 160, 160, 160. We're looking. Scoring blades, adjustable scoring blades. This is a non-ferrous metal, so this is for aluminium. They've got 2 here that are for the 20 millimeter bore and the 160, and one's a 40 tooth and the other one's a 56. Now my one here is a 52 tooth. The Festool one has got 52 teeth, so I suggest possibly you go to the 56. And it's got a negative 6 degree rake, and its code is 296.160.56H. Keeping on moving along, we've got one here for steel, and then we've got them for stainless steel. This is amazing. 160 by 20, and it has got a 2 millimeter kerf, and this is for the ordinary steel. I wouldn't go cutting up the harbour bridge with it. But it's 226.030.06H. And then we go down to the extreme, which is Cmt Carbide, whatever that is, CERMET. It is 1.8 millimeters kerf, and it's for stainless steel, as I say, 226.540.06H. Now they've got another one here that is designed beautifully for melamine. It's got a kind of a conical profile on the teeth. I'm madly looking for it. Looking. So it's shaped this way. Where are we? And I may have already said it. Yep. It's probably in there already somewhere. But look, get a hold of the catalogue if you're interested. So that's just one company. I know that there are other companies do blades for the saws as well. So you don't have to be trapped in if you don't want to. I still like using the Festool blades because they've always worked for me. They've never let me down. They've always, had good life out of them. I got the CMT because I was curious, and it goes fine. But the saw came with a fine tooth blade, and I do all my melamine cutting with that. But I do a scoring cut first. All right, let me have a look at what's being said on the chat. Andrew sent you some of my lockdown projects on Instagram. Right. Andrew, was that just now or previously? Because I made comment last week, I think it was, someone had sent me stuff, and because I've got Instagram and various emails and text and all that kind of stuff, sometimes I lose them. So if it's just today, I'll try and find it. But if you've sent it earlier, if you could send it to me via email, that'd be great. Paul, morning all. Hi Ron, I'm joining you in the Naughty Corner. Naughty Corner is a solo place. Giovanni, how are you? Paul, isolation in the virtual world. Just now, what's the next thing we're going to talk about? We're down to 20 minutes a segment. That's not bad. So look, has that helped anyone at all? When I first got Festool stuff, I thought, well, I'll have to stay with Festool Blades, and that's all there is to it. But you don't. If you don't want to. It's your money, you spend it how you want. All right, more drink. For people that are concerned or worried, not concerned, curious. People who are curious about how the ducklings are going, they're going great. Still 5 ducklings, and they're getting conditioned on. I'm feeding them seed and all sorts of things. The parents and 1 duckling got stuck on one side of a fence the other day, and the other 4 ducklings were on this side, and like this, couldn't see each other. And so I came around the corner. The mother duck was going crazy for an hour or so, and I thought, what's going on? Went down the back. Thanks, Andrew. And I found the dilemma, and so I called them, and they all followed me down along the fence until they found a hole, and then all the little ducklings shot underneath. They were gone for a couple of days, and now they're all back. And I make a noise, they all come running because they like the seed. Russell, I think I was the one who sent you pictures that you can't find. Dressing table and desk. Yes. Thank you very much for that. Wayne, as usual, very informative. Thank you. G'day, Matteo. How are you? Excellent. Melamine blade for you. Okay, so as I say, there's a blade that the tooth is shaped like that. So here's the tooth. And let's say it's a little bit like that. It's got this conical thing, very sharp edges. Now, the only downside of that is those edges are prone to wearing out quickly. So you'll probably have to send it off to Henry Brothers every now and then to get it sharpened up. But it's going to give you the absolute cleanest cut. They do jump in and out of the pool. They're funny. And another pair of ducks came in, and it was funny watching them stand off. They didn't dare jump in the pond while mum and dad duck and all the babies were in there. It's just weird. All right, clean drum sander belts. Is it worth it? Let's take this off. Now, someone was using my drum sander the other day, and I'm not going to mention her name, but and through no fault of hers, we got some residual stuff on here. Now, it was only one little spot when it hit the plywood, and the ply, as I've been saying before, is pretty cheap. So what you do is, if you want to get rid of this, the bulk of it, this is stuff that won't come off with the rubber stick. And drum sander belts are only designed to go around something about that radius, 4 inches diameter possibly. Put a dog on there, and backwards and forwards. And what you're doing is you're forcing it to get supple. Once you've done that, then you can go like that with it. See it just fall off? If you try and do this without getting it supple to start, you're going to crack the belt. See all that that's coming off? That was covered. All this area here was covered. So that's one way of doing it. Also, if you want to, very dangerous. Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah. About the mystery lady. Anyway, got to be fair. I also have been known to do this now and then. So that's just a quick way to clean it up. It doesn't take long. Next thing, TSO parallel guides. Now, I spoke about the guides at the beginning of the show, and I want to tell you a couple of things about them. Basically, this is the 20-inch guide and with a track adapter. So a lot of people, and even on TSO's website, they tell you you've got to have a parallel guide or a GRS 16 to use these. You don't have to. I'll tell you now. I leave this on the 1400 track for doing crosscuts. And I've got these to hold on to the track anywhere along the track I want. These will end up having this, it's the same thickness right the way through. So it will sit on top of the sheet. Now this is the right-hand side. And that's a little bit, can get confusing. They've made them like this so that they can go on. I've got to make sure I get this right. So that they can go on the GRS 16. Now, if I have it, let me see, I've got to get this right, otherwise it's just not going to work. So I can have it on the GRS 16 as a reference with a sliding stop here, so I can set width, so I can do repetitive cuts, cross cut, or along if I wanted to. The other end, which has got the left hand, is this the left or a right? This is also another right hand. If I had the left hand model of this with one of these down the other end of the sheet, it's just so easy because they're sitting on top. They're not going to fall at all. This one is designed so that it's not going to fall as well. So right hand side, let me see if I can go to the Carl cam, might be better for this one. Now to explain this, maybe that piece of plywood over there. So I've got a piece of ply. And I've got this connected to my track. I'll get a short track, make it easier. So we slide that on, hook that onto there, and lock it. Now, this is just, I did a video the other week about using this for guiding my router. And I basically put it down this end and had a jig on this end, going that direction using the back of the track. So this time we're going to have the saw running on this side of the track. Now, you put this on here with their little knobs. And you might see that it's not going to affect it at all. Underneath, Let's see if I can find the right angle. There. I'm just trying to get the light on it properly. That's better. The bottom of that is the same as the bottom of that. This sits down below that as my reference point. See that? I've got a lip there that it's sitting on. So I sit this on the sheet wherever I'm going to want to cut it, hard up against the GRS16. See underneath there? This point here is going to push up against the edge. So I've got that there. Then the flip stop, we take down, tighten up. And now, repetitive all the time. It's push there and push there. Now for short stuff, that's going to be fine. But if I've got a nice big long sheet like a 2.4, and I always cut the factory edge off to start. So I flip the stop up, push it in until I hit the bulk of this part back here. So then basically I've come in around about 10 millimeters. Do my first cut, of course, with this on the other end and the left hand on there. So right and left from the side if you're cutting right to left. It works really well. You've just got to spend around about 2 years at university. It takes about 5 minutes and you're there. Now, I spoke to them, I said, well, why did you do this? And they said, well, there's all sorts of things we could have done. We could have said near and far, close and far. So that's how it works. So you've got this, you do the cut, 10 mil proud, and then I turn the sheet around and drop the stop down and then push it up against, and then I do the second cut, which was the factory edge. I cut that off. Now, why do I do 10 millimeters away? The reason being, I always like to try and leave the blade, when it's cutting, inside the cut. I don't like shaving the outside off. The reason being, dust goes everywhere. I don't care whose saw it is, dust will go absolutely everywhere. So you must have the blade contained in the cut. So we just spoke about that, 2.2 millimeters. I've still got 7.2 millimeters of the material. That's my waste. And normally in Australia, we buy sheets that are imperial size, but they've called them 2440 or 2420 and 1220. So you've got that waste to cut off. So that's that. Now I did say I wanted to talk about, so as I say, you don't need to use this. I keep that on my short track always, and I use this on here. As I said before, most people tend to think that you need, push it down there, that's got it, that you need that for the parallel guides, where I leave that for my cross cutting, and you get two of these guys instead, right and left on the track, and sit on top. But make sure you leave enough room here for the saws, these guys. See those underneath? They guide. There's what guides it on the track. So I normally leave around about 150 millimeters on the approach, not so much on the exit because the blade's already cut before the guide comes off the track. Okay, Roger, how are you from Tasmania? How do I get one of your benches, Matthew? Go to stantonbench.com.au and it shows you all the things to do, and you send me an email from there and we can take it from there, Matthew. All right, now I did say that I was going to talk about these. This is one of the new ones. Now, why is it new? It's spring-loaded. Let's flip this to the other one there, wherever we are. Right. You watch this little fellow here. The previous ones, not spring loaded. It's amazing the difference. So when this one goes on now, it's just a matter of push it down, spin it around so it's in the right spot. It's one of the things when you're talking to other people. Now that's not tight. Tighten her up, and it's not going anywhere. It's just like the other one. But how good is that? It just stays there, wherever you want. These guys keep on thinking, you know, that they came out with a fantastic idea and then they made it better. So I think it's great. These stops are reversible. The old ones also, when you adjusted the stop here, so there's a little stop just there. When you adjust the stop, because you can set it up for your track might be slightly different. You may have had a wider blade like we were talking about. So for accuracy, you measure out your width to your splinter guard, and then you set this correctly here, and then a little Allen key in here, and you can adjust this backwards and forwards. Works really well. This one, the old model, there used to be just the tiniest little bit of movement. As you nipped it up, it just... The new ones, they don't go anywhere. They're beautiful. Such a smooth action. If you own these things, or if you had them before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It was when I got this, it was my little bugbear with it. Everything's great, and they fixed it straight away. It's fantastic. All right, I think, what have we got next? That's the new swing stops. As I say, they're reversible. We've gone through cleaning sandpaper. I've shown you this. I've shown you how that plane of mine just works beautifully. And I'm a stickler. I'm a little bit of a stickler for getting things right. You ask Vicky, she'll tell you, I drive her crazy. She'll say, it's fine, it's fine. No, it's not. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just obsessive. There should be an easy spring to retrofit. It could well be, John. I've no idea. That's an interesting idea. Let me see. I'm going to undo it and have a look now you've said that. Yeah, maybe it's just a little spring that's been put on there. I don't know. Can't see it. They may have milled a little bit underneath as well for it to spring load it. I'm very curious now. Yeah, I think that's all it is. It's a spring that they've put on it. How good is that? So, if you've got one, go and get a spring, throw it on. All right, as I say, links in the description box below if you want to send me emails. There's links to affiliations down there as well. Keeps me keen. We are going to do a Patreon Zoom meeting after this is finished in around about, I don't know, give me about a couple of minutes after 12 o'clock and we'll hook into that. Give me time for a break. I'll have a Mars bar or something and a bit more of something to drink and we'll hook in. Idle Hands Workshop, I missed how your plane restoration turned out. I believe it was a Hawk. The one you used the belt sander on. How did it look afterwards? No, not a Hawk, Turner. Turner are Australian made and they finished in 1970. How did it turn out? I'll grab a couple and I'll show you them. For people that didn't catch it before, I'll grab that one, and that one. All right, so I've got three here. And I've done them all on the belt sander and they work beautifully. Now it's not just an ordinary cheap belt sander. This is it's my belt and disc sander over there. It works very, very well. So this is the little 220 and I use this all the time. It's a little 220 block plane with the cellulose acetate handle, and that's how it came up after I put on the belt sander, and then I ran it over other grits and then put it over a diamond stone as well, and it's come up really, really nicely. Then we've got the 4.5, and this one was an absolute mess when I got it, but it's come up beautifully. Same thing, over the belt sander, the bottom's beautiful. You won't be able to join the call today. Ah, well, I'm thinking of getting a thickness of the same as yours, I believe, and this is the 5. Now, this is one that I got from a wood carver up in Queensland. And again, I spent a lot of time. I've restored a couple of them on the show. They work beautifully. And then when I'm done with them, when I finish restoring, I hit them up with this stuff. This is camellia oil. And I've also, pardon me, I've also gone across those brass handles on the dressing table that I restored with this to stop any tarnishing. Turner, a good old Melbourne company, taken over by Stanton, I believe. Correct. Turner started off with 2 employees in 1935, April 1935. I'm looking down the back because I did a display board where I have the whole set of Turners. So 7, 6, 5.5, pardon me, 5, 4.5, 5, 4, and the 220. And I just smile when I look at it. It's beautiful. More drink. No, all of the frogs and the planes that I have are straight. It's only when people over tension the lever cap. You don't need to be Samson and, you know, just, these are just all beautifully straight. They're all great. Have a look. They're straight as a die. The lateral adjustment lever moves around a little bit because it's a moving part, but everything else in there is just magic. What else have we got? I'm going to do a little bit of a read. Are there any problems with using carbide on softwood? Not really. You can use carbide on softwood. Look, carbide, I think there's a rule of a scale of sharpness and hardness. So there's the two things. So ordinary high-speed steel, you can get a sharper edge. The grain in the high-speed steel, I think, is 2 microns or something like that. It's some insanely very, very fine grain. The downside to that is that it's not as hard and won't resist wearing when you're using it on timber. So for softwoods, ideally, in an ideal world, use high-speed steel blades instead of carbide. But carbide lasts longer. You know, it's not going to get as sharp, but these things, well, none of my blades on my planes are carbide. How a lot of them get away with it is they coat the steel with tin. So if you go around and maybe you go into Robert Sorby's or you bought a packet of drill bits and they all look like they're gold plated, that's actually tin. Now there's a special name for it, and I'm sure everyone here will be able to remember the name. It's just escaped me for the moment. But basically, tin has got a hardness of around 82 or 83, I think, where ordinary high-speed steel, I think the hardness is around 57. So the tin coating really helps. And I spoke to Chris Pouncey about it and said, why don't they just coat the part where it's going to be, you know, on the top of the blade? Why do they coat the hole? And he says, Dave, if you can work out a way of not just dipping the whole blade in the molten tin and pull it out, let me know. Okay, so there you go. That's the story. So I hope that's answered it for you, and I hope I've given you the right answer as well. They all turned out beautifully, absolutely beautiful. At Lost Wits, you didn't have any problems with the aluminium frogs? No. Love those totes and knobs. They really pop. They look like they are brand new. Cobalt. Is it? I thought it was something nitride or nitrate. There's titanium. Titanium nitrate or nitride. It's one or the other. You'll tell me, I'm sure. But tin is titanium nitrate or nitride. All right, everyone, I think that has gone 12 o'clock. Let's see if I can find this. And I am going to read out my patrons' names because they're wonderful people. So at a certain level, you get to have your name read out, and also you get a special mug that says, it's a lot of blatant advertising for me, to be honest. But anyway, here we go. So we got Johannes Mohr, John W., John Parra, Vincent Ngian, John Lafferty, Peter Woolworth, Brian Shaw, Brian Del Vecchio, Justin Bailey, Brett Guthrie, Hilton Bond, Mike Deam, and Tony Daniels. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of my patrons. But these guys get a special mention because that's part of the deal. Nitrate. It depends on the manufacturer, you think, Derek. There's a bit of a slippery eel there, buddy. I don't know if you're right or wrong. I'm going to have to look it up. All right, here we go. Thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves. Be nice to each other. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to ring the bell down there if you click the subscribe button. And also allow email notifications. And all will be good. And I shall see everyone else in a couple of seconds over at everyone from the patrons over in Zoom very soon. See you later. Bye.